That's the question everybody has to ask themselves. Is what I'm thinking about, is that leading me where I want to go? If it isn't, drop it. Stop thinking about it. It'll pop up here and there. That's 70 times 7 that you forgive yourself because you do stupid things all the time. We all do. But if we condemn ourselves, you see, that's what I meant. Blessed is the man that does not condemn himself. Because when you condemn yourself, then you feel bad. It's not necessary. You're told, just be still and know that I'm God. With you always, will never leave you. Come on. It's all right there in Scripture, and I'm not changing anything. We're just pointing you in the right direction as to it's a divine history, not secular history only. And that's why people ask me, well, what does that have to do with me here now? It's here now. This is the appointed hour of all the thinking from the past. And this is what we've created with our power. And the power is the power of God when He gave it to you, when He gave you, choose this day. The inheritance is all things. So choose better, choose more. Wake up.
That choosing is something else, though, because we have to get into the mindset when we wake up in the morning. We have to decide what kind of day we're going to have. Because if we don't, of course, then our day is chosen for us. And that tends to be the experience of most of us. We just let everything around us dictate the outcome of our day, as it were. And we don't have to do that. And so what I love about some of the testimonials is that people are becoming conscious creators. They're creating consciously, purposefully. There's a young man, Donald, and Donald continuously gives testimonies of him just consciously purposing the type of day he wants to create, the type of event that he wants to create, and he's reproducing it consciously. Now, we're all doing it like you said. He's just conscious of doing it.
That's the whole thing, isn't it? Being conscious.
Absolutely.
Consciousness is God. And you're being conscious. So He gave you Himself. And that's what He said. Son, all I have is yours. He gave you Himself. Act like it. Because everything is an act in the beginning. It's a thought. And then if you focus on the thought long enough, it takes on a personality. Yours. Think from, not of. Of means I don't have it. From means I'm working on it. But it's already a done deal. God says, you turn to me, I'll turn to you. So He's already agreed. Where are you? He said, if you turn to me, I'll turn to you. Well, so that means He's already there. Where are you? You turn to me. See, it's only one turning. Yet it's only one turning.
Absolutely.
And we're all called one by one. Too precious to be called with another, one by one. You have a say. Your say is a valid say. And all we're suggesting is that watch your mouth. Because, people think about things, but they don't consider the trade-offs. They have ideas about doing things, but they don't consider trade-offs, the ramifications of what they're doing, because your actions are going to cause reactions around you. So if that's not taken into consideration, you could have a lot of problems dealing with people. As within, so without. You're always creating your world, every moment, every breath, every word, because every word must be taken into culmination. It must be accounted for. So if you don't want to experience it, don't say it, because your say is valid.
I want people to understand it's also not just about your words being verbalized. It's the thoughts, the feelings, the emotions, the states that you find yourself in they're reproducing after their kind, and that's because that's how we've been created. One of the things that I love, about this whole process, and you've kind of touched on it several times through this talk, is that God is expressing himself as us individually, not two by two, not in groups of three, but individually. God is expressing himself through each person. And so they're experiencing their own world of experiencing individually. And so you go back and you say, choose you this day. It's been given to you individually to choose you this day. And we're responsible, those who hear the message, we're responsible for our choosing. Everybody doesn't know that until we begin to lead them or guide them into the right direction. And at first, they may not be able to be receptive of it. I wasn't for years. When somebody would tell me that, your thoughts create your reality, I bucked against that. I pushed against it because I didn't want to feel that what I was experiencing was the byproduct of my thoughts.
Yeah, actually, that's it. That's the whole story. As you think you are, that's it. So if someone else is influencing your thinking, well, then they're running your life. But if you're choosing your thinking, well, then you're in control. But you see, people are in control even if they're out of control. You get it?
I do.
That's it. I mean, you're to be a better director of what you're choosing to think about. Because if as you think you are, come on, wouldn't it be wise to sit down and decide what you're going to be thinking about if as you think you are? As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he, so does he, so has he, on and on throughout the stories of Scripture. You take any individual, you're given his thoughts, what he thinks. Then you see what he's doing. And now you know that he was thinking ahead of his evidence that he's now experiencing. And we're doing the same thing. We're thinking ahead of our evidence. If you want to change the evidence, you got to change the thinking you're doing ahead of it. I repeat that and repeat that. It's so super simple, but I know how long it took me. Years to catch that one simple idea. But I'll tell you, the benefits are miraculous. Believe me. Think about it.
You were making mention about the thoughts, and sometimes people will say, well, you have no idea what I was thinking when I did blank, 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 but what we do know is the results of your actions.
That's right.
You understand? So a lot of times we may not know exactly what you were thinking, but we do know the fruits that are being born in your life continuously. So if you're a poor money manager, you may say, well, I'm great with handling money, but you filed 3 Chapter 7s in the last 15, 20 years, and you're always in financial difficulty, then we can know that even though you may say one thing, your life is bearing out something altogether different. And that's with each one of us. We can know the byproduct of our thoughts by what we continue to experience over and over again. Would you agree?
You live your thoughts. So if you don't want to live them, don't think them. Because every word is taken into culmination to make up your everydayness. So if you want to change your everydayness, you have to change your thoughts, loving and of good report. That's what you're told to do. Think only on things that are lovely and of good report. Why tell you to think only on things that are lovely and of good report? If as you think you are, it sounds to me that it's self-evident. But not really, because most people don't really think that deep. Because, that's what they say, oh, that's so deep. But, it isn't really deep. I found that out first person because I just discovered how shallow I was. that was, there it is. Every time you speak to another human being, you either help them or help drive them crazy. That was S.I. Hakawa. And it's so true. It's absolutely true that every time you speak to another human being, you either help them or you help drive them crazy. So there again, watch your mouth, because you're doing it all. Your say is valid. And when I say valid, I mean it accomplishes. What you say must accomplish what you say. And if it's not lovely in a good report, look out. You're always thinking ahead of your evidence. Just remember that. If you don't remember anything else tonight, remember you're always thinking ahead of what you're actually doing and being and having. So if what you're thinking isn't serving you properly, drop it. So you think that's a good idea?
I do. And you said your say is a valid say. And the thing is, what people don't understand, when we say something, for example, you said that we're either helping them or driving them crazy, and you gave the quote. What we don't realize, for example, many people, I have friends who are out on Instagram, and they share these truths with others. And sometimes those truths are well received. But there's other times that people lash out at the people that's meaning good. So their good is evil spoken of, as it were. And it goes back to the scripture that says, don't cast your pearl before swine. The good that we do can sometimes, it can be evil spoken of.
Here's the thing. People will follow what they will believe in. And people do believe. But what is it that they believe? See, that's the only difference, is that what you believe, you experience. That sounds simple enough, but it doesn't take hold until you move in and think from what it is you're trying to accomplish. I do hope you have a dream. I really do, because we're told that when the people fail to dream, they start to die. I mean, that sounds pretty simple, but it's true. When the people fail to dream, they start to die. And you hear them say things, all the time, that that what they're doing is denying themselves. Even whether you don't say anything about it or not, but you hear them actually putting themselves down, putting themselves away, and they don't realize they're doing it, because they're not examining what they're talking to themselves about. You're on all the time. You understand? You're always on. Even when you're asleep, you're on, because you dream. And even those who tell me they don't dream, well, they just didn't recognize it, that's all. Because everybody does. Because God tells you that's when He talks to you, is when you're asleep. The thing of it is like we're told, arouse thyself, O Lord. Why tell us that? People tell me, they say, well, I never hear you say anything about Jesus. Who do you think I'm talking to? That's what all this talking is about. I'm not talking to your man mind. I was talking to Jesus in you. Arouse thyself, O Lord. Why sleepeth thou? And I say it to myself all the time. When I say that, I usually have a revelation, or at least a vision. But you have to get into the habit of feeling after. You're told, feel after Him, you'll find Him. Him who? What are you looking for? See, first you have to know what it is you want. But the minute you decide what you want, you stop wanting it and start being it. Thinking from, not of. That's the difference that makes a difference in your world. You don't remember anything else, remember that. Because as you think, you are. Not why you think that way. See, it's not somebody else's fault because they told you to think that way. You think about it. You discern. You decide. Why tell you to choose this day if there's no choice? And if there is, couldn't you choose better?